What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another live stream. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Fix whatever feedback that I constantly get whenever I start on here. There we go. What's going on, guys? Before we hop into the charts on this beautiful Monday, September 8th, make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading's risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do here or anywhere else is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Do your own research. Make your own decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is. Even if funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partner disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. What is going on, chat? What is happening? Welcome back, man. Welcome back. We had no streams last week. If you don't follow me on IG, you can follow me on IG, and you can see why. I was gallivanting around Switzerland, around Europe, which was really fun. Had an awesome trip, whole bunch of fun stuff, hiking, paragliding, running around the city, looking at all the cool stuff they have over there. It was really cool, really cool trip. Got a little bit of trading in last week. Some from the phone trading, cooked a little bit. I shared some of that on IG. Had a nice live trade play out. Got short, a little bit of like swing trading in the personal live account. Had a short play out pretty nicely on Friday. But let's take a look at these markets. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. Sandy, what's up? Alan, what's up? Dwayne, what's up? Good luck to the rest of the week. Absolutely. Good morning. And it's early. It's 9:08. I'm usually hopping on here. If you guys don't know, I'm usually hopping on here 9:30 a.m. Hopping on a little bit early. Talked about that in Discord. I'm going to be running these streams same time, same place, right? Might be hopping on a little bit earlier, but I'm going to just hang out. If I have a trade running, I'll probably hang out a little bit longer, spend a little bit more time on here, have just more conversation, hang out a little bit longer, rather than trying to trade Power Hour. Power Hour has just not been great for me personally. It just hasn't provided a lot of good trading opportunities. So rather than try to like split up streams and hop back on, I'm just going to hop on with you guys here in the morning. Rich Boy Trades, what's up? Hang for as long as I can with you. We got good conversations. We got good market conditions. I'll hang out with you guys. We'll run these a little bit longer. And maybe if not, I'll hop on in the middle of the day or something, right? Not just for Power Hour. Power Hour has been, it can be fun to trade, it can be volatile, but it's been a little dicey towards the end of the day. So I don't like forcing anything. I like doing what feels good, what feels natural, and hanging on here earlier is solid. Sandy, I made $500 one trade. Nice, awesome, dude, very nice. JB, what's up? Good morning, everybody. What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the show, everybody. Happy to be here. Appreciate you guys hopping on. We're going to be taking a look at... Sorry, I'm just making sure I got everything loaded up here. Getting back in action here with you guys. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. So we're going to be here on the straight to funded Sim Pro 7-pack that I've been trading with you guys back and forth since they launched. They're still alive, still breathing. I wish they were doing even better than they are, but like I said from the beginning, I like to be a man of my word that, as soon as I got these, I'm going to trade them all the way to failure or triumph to success. And that's what I'm going to do. We do have some pretty big stuff coming out today. I can't yap about it too much. I hope that I see it drop while I'm on the live session because you guys will be the first to hear about it. We got some good stuff cooking this fine Monday, so we'll be checking that out together. Why is my prior day low looking like that? We'll hop on to some analysis. I wanted to hop on early, right? Give myself a little bit extra time with you guys. Not only just to hop on early, but because I was on off the charts for a little bit, right? Did a very little amount of trading, mostly from a train in Switzerland or sitting in front of the Swiss Alps, some swing trading stuff, not really spending a whole lot of time. I'm going to make some content about it. But haven't been in front of the charts, all day, every day, the way that I am when I'm at my desk. So want to provide a little bit more time for myself. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at what happened last week. Kind of the higher time frame picture, the daily chart here on ES. Again, this is Project X with Top 1 Futures. You want to check it out. Oh, I got the other link. You want to check it out. Link is going to be in the chat right now. We drop that for you guys if you want to check out top one. Boom. There we go. There we go. We'll be talking more about top one. Hopefully today we get some stuff rolling. We'll have some excitement on this stream. Run some giveaways. We're going to have some fun this week, guys. I'm hyped. Hyped to be back. So, taking a look at the daily chart here. Kind of interesting structure. This was Monday, right? Let me just make sure. This was Monday, Tuesday, excuse me. Monday was holiday, Labor Day last week. Tuesday, see, this is why I'm on early, getting nice and situated. Tuesday, the 2nd, we had a nice sell-off. Pretty ugly sell-off to start September, which is traditionally a weak month. I don't really create too much of a bias based on what happens year over year by the month, but I'm aware of stuff like that. Had a pretty gnarly sell-off here, as you can see, but very quick recovery. And then what happened the rest of the week? Really pushed higher until Friday, where we pushed higher and then cracked to the downside. But we didn't really sell off, an entire massive amount all the way down here where my final target was. I grabbed a nice 23.75 in a live account. It was pretty sweet on this little push to the downside. And now we're really back up towards the 6,500s, man. We've just been hanging out here on this ES contract. These 6,500s are a key level. We cracked above it now, here and came right back in. This, was a big news event, news-driven Friday. We don't have a ton on the book for today. We actually have nothing on the book for today. It's a no news Monday. We've talked about that a lot on these live sessions. Could be in for very choppy, consolidating, rangy conditions. Later this week, we got a little bit more, but not too much. Like, this is not a heavy news week. Definitely a lot more right here. I could see potential, anticipation of this, maybe some selling pressure, maybe just some back and forth, difficult to trade conditions in anticipation of this September rate. I think we got a lot of eyes on this. If you're a fundamental based trader, you might want to pay attention to it, but I just like to know when news events are, maybe before where we don't have news. I anticipate a little bit more rangy, choppy, consolidating type conditions. Maybe, during, after, I anticipate some more volatility, maybe a larger movement. So not a whole lot to kick us into gear this week. Definitely not a lot today after a larger move on Friday. So I don't have massive expectations coming into today. I'm not saying I'm looking for a huge move. Can it happen? Sure. Anything can happen. But so far, cracked above this level, came back in, pushing back up to the upside today, forming a nice bullish daily candles, 9:14. Again, we're here a little bit early before the open, getting situated, doing some analysis, taking our time. I could see this doing a number of things this week. Number one, I could see this trend continuing, and this is not in the order of which I think it could happen. Just some like potential things. First and foremost, anything can happen at any time for any reason. Let's start there. What do I see as some potential things? Number one, just some chop, some consolidation, some back and forth movement, some movement near this high, some chop back around this level here, all the way down back towards the 6,400s. Just some kind of back and forth movement up here. Looking at the daily chart, really zoomed out, right? And that would make sense ahead of a rate. Maybe some selling pressure to bring us back down to sweep down below these lows. I could see that happening. Number two, I don't know that we just blast off on any one of these days if we don't have any kind of catalyst, but this market just does not seem to need any kind of reason to move higher. So I could just see a slow drift higher. I could see this just continuing, this overall higher time frame trend, pushing to the upside, right? I don't know that it's a massively volatile move like up to 6,700, right? We just like blast off. But I could see this, trending to the upside. Last but not least, September, traditionally weak month. We're up here near at all-time highs. We've really somewhat, I've seen a lot of people, higher time frame guys that like to make calls and analyze things start to die out, right? If you look at these legs up, this is a little bit, hard to dispute. It's technical, right? Here's a real nice high before a pullback down, reload, sweep these lows, and then blast off. Well, we came up and cracked the high. We pushed higher, but we didn't blast off. We came back down, right? Okay, maybe take everybody out, pull all the way back down, almost 100 points. Yeah, over 100 points. Push back up. Buyer is ready to take it higher again. failure to really blast off, right? Failure to really just continue a whole bunch higher. Found sellers again all the way back down, right, on a Monday. And this looked pretty good. This looked pretty good to the upside. I think it was a bold move for me to look short on this on Friday, but that was my play for a number of reasons, or coming into Friday, I should say. But here we go. We cracked it, and then we didn't take off. We came right back in and kind of just settled down here again around the 6,500. So, we could be a little bit toppy up here, for lack of a better term. Selling pressure, we could drift lower into September, right, to start out this month, which is traditionally kind of weak. Again, strong bullish trend. I'm somewhat cautious on shorts. I think they got to be really calculated. I think a wide stop loss, wide take profit, if you're going to go for something like that, at least for me, could be appropriate. And I could see something like that this week. I could see a return back down to the 6,400s. Like if we trade out the 65.25s and we don't get a lot of, buyers up here to really start to take this thing higher. If we come back up to this level, looking at the 15-minute chart now, starting to frame some just kind of thoughts. If we don't come through this with some force and see some buyers, I'm going to like to short this. I'm going to like to short this, and honestly, a higher time frame move that I'm looking for, maybe something that I think I'm going to continue doing in my live account because it worked so nicely while I was traveling around and hiking. I could see a pull back down to like the 6,400s. I think we got some volume pointed controls from down here. I could see a pull all the way back down to this level again. It would set up for that kind of choppy movement. If I'm looking short on this, I would run it with a wide stop loss. Again, in the live account, in these accounts, probably have to be a little bit tighter. But if we get up above, conversely, if we don't do that, and I'm dead wrong, we get above the 65.25s, we start to push this high and really continue, that looks like it's going to grind higher. Looks like we're going to continue this move to the upside. Not a lot of news, not a lot of catalysts that are at least scheduled that I see ahead of that rate next week. So this is kind of a tricky situation. I traditionally see coming out of that August, that summer slump, really things really starting to kick up. We start to get more volatility, larger movements. This week is kind of interesting. So interested to see where we go from here. It's Monday, right? I'm not looking to do anything crazy. I'm not looking to be the first buyer at 9:30 a.m. or first seller at 9:30 a.m. We don't have to do that. I like to wait, if you're new here, I like to wait the first 10, absolute minimum 10, if not 15 minutes after the open. Let the degenerates, the gamblers, the algos, everybody else get involved first. Maybe let the market start to show its hand and then look to get involved. So I'm going to look to do that today. If we take a look at Bookmap together, again, it's a Monday. It's a no news Monday. So, I'm going to look for my trades, right? I'm going to put risk on if something sets up, wait patiently for it. But I'm not looking to force it on a no news Monday with not a whole bunch of news until later into the week. Again, if you hopped on late, this is forexfactory.com. I'm not partnered or affiliated with them in any way. I've just used it for forever. You can use Financial Juice. You could use whatever other news site that you want. Nothing today. Like consumer credit at 3 p.m. That's not a whole lot. Almost nothing tomorrow. This is pretty light. CPI, unemployment, definitely going to get some movement out of it, or should get some movement out of that on the 11th. But, I'm not looking for anything massive out of this. This, I think, is a lot of eyes on this, and it's now, later into next week. So we'll have to see. That's the game plan. Taking a look at Bookmap with you guys. While we are still getting our feet wet, situated in this nice Monday. Happy to be on here early with you guys, hanging out before the open. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I was just checking one other thing over here. Nice. Yeah, so taking a look at Bookmap. This is Bookmap Level 2 data, order flow. Bookmap's a subscription service. I'm partnered, affiliated with Bookmap. Always like to try to be transparent about that. like I yapped about at the beginning. Yeah, I was going to say we had something interesting up here, 65.40. Heavy stack of orders that just came on the book. So we got something getting moved around. This looks like a bunch of BS. Just looks like spoofing and manipulation. I don't have a lot of faith that this is legit. It got moved from here to here, here to here. So I'm really not taking that into account. That seems like it's just spoofing manipulation. Somebody moving around some stuff, making it difficult to read. Little bit of a positive CVD coming into the open. I don't like to weigh that too much. We got some orders all the way up to the 25s, right? 65.25s. That's a key level that I'm going to have my eye on today. I'm going to mark that on my chart. But to the upside, going to look at 65.25s. It's below the low at about 65.40s, 41s, let's say. All the way up here, the high that we put in from Friday before selling off. I think this could be an interesting area. Quite a bit of consolidation. It was a high volume area coming into that open. I could see a potential return up here without cracking the high and then maybe pulling back down. It's definitely an area I'm going to be looking at today. If we start to break out to the upside, I think we could get there. I don't know. I don't know if we just chop. I really don't know if we just chop, but I'm looking at that 65.25s. I like that we got some orders up there. That lines up with my price action market structure volume on my candlestick chart. To the downside, really key area. Looking at, and I got a candlestick chart on the right hand side that I look at as I do this, just to see where this lines up. Yeah, the 85s aren't bad. The 70s, even have a lot more volume at it. The volume point of control from the 4th, that Thursday, is untested. Is that Fridays? Sorry. Taking a quick look. Yeah, Fridays. Excuse me. Thursday and Friday's volume point of control is untested down there. 64.80s, 64.70s. So if we start to sell off, like what's a downside level, downside area that I'd be looking at where volume starts to pick up? 85 to 70. 85 to 70, 64.85, maybe even a little bit lower, 64.80, all the way down to 64.70. I think that would be a very interesting area to watch, right? Do we get to either of these areas? Do we turn as soon as we get there? Do we respect them at all? I don't know, chat. I never know, right? I just take a look at things from a technical standpoint, have some areas of interest on my chart that I like to frame out as I'm coming into the open with you guys here, and look to trade towards, from, to and from, off of, right? Give me a way to structure risk. So to the upside, 65.25. Interested to see if we get up there quickly. I want to be cautious short in this market, but I could see a potential short up there. I don't know that we just break and run today and we have a crazy bullish day and we just start pushing all-time highs, right? If we have a ton of volume that comes in, buyer step in, it's super strong to start this Monday out. Maybe that's what we do, right? And I'm a little bit cautious. Have to see what happens as we get up there. We start selling off really aggressively. I could see a move down there pretty quickly. I would look long. Down there. Potentially off of the, like below the 80s. I don't know if that I'd be able to find a way in short to the downside. It would have to set up pretty cleanly, but maybe it is. Maybe it's a break and retest, a VWAP and continuation. We'll have to look. So let's hop back over to this chart. And again, I don't think you need to spend a whole lot of time on markup, on technical analysis. I think whatever tools you use, whatever is on your chart, whatever you're going to do, should be pretty quick and easy. Should be really should stand out to you very, very quickly. As to what you're looking at and why. So just a couple discretionary levels that I'm going to throw on this chart that I don't have marked with a market generated level, right? An objective level being overnight high or overnight low, prior day high or prior day low. 65.25s. And again, this is a 15-minute chart, so we're pretty zoomed out here before the 1 minute. To the downside, it's overnight low. So I'm actually not going to have to mark this. Overnight low, and looking at my visible range, volume profile, visible range. Pretty key level, right? It's a pretty interesting spot. Quite a bit of price action, market structure, right? Tops and bottoms, area of interest for me. This is market structure, pretty basic. If I was going to throw a zone, I'd like it right in here. I might draw it even a little bit lower. This to the downside, again, I said the 70s, right? The 85s to the 70s. This could be an interesting level, right? Just a really nice high volume level, temporary point of control. I could see this movement to the downside. So we'll have to see. I'm going to wait patient as this opens up. Not going to create a super duper strong bias. I've attempted to be cautious looking short in this market outside of something that looks really, really appetizing. My data supports that I should be doing that, and I'm going to continue to attempt to do that. So I'm going to run a 15-minute and 1-minute chart side by side. If you don't know how I did that, I went select a layout up here on the top right-hand side. So let's see. 928. I actually have to move my overnight high level up. Oh, I got some messed up levels on this chart. Is it going to do it to me again? Oh, come on, Project X. Nah, we're good. Had one level messed up there. One level that didn't get deleted. Okay, coming into the open here, 9:28 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, what I was just saying is I have to move this level up. This is my overnight high level, and we are still pushing to the upside here, at least for right now, into this open. So I'm going to come right off that candle there. The area between session changeover and 9:30 a.m. Eastern until we open up. So let's see what we get here, guys. Got about 60 seconds to the open. Trade well, my friends. Structure risk. Make sure you stick to your plan, whatever that means, right? I'm going to do something likely that's different than you. You're going to do something that's different than me. I would definitely take a look and stick to your plan, stick to your risk structure. Let's see what we get. Opening up, right back down towards VWAP. What's up, everybody? Jordan, yo. Dave for Dean. Been hearing a lot of noise around top 1 futures denying payouts. Any comment on that? Dave for Dean. Show me the noise, my brother. Hop in Discord if you want. You can post it in here. What exactly noise have you seen? I have reviewed a ton of cases personally. I've looked at everything around top 1 because I'm partnered, I'm affiliated with them. And I have not seen, to date, one case that I do not 100% agree with. Haven't seen a case where somebody was wrongfully denied a payout. I've only seen sim farmers get the boot, people that have broke rules, not be able to get paid out because they broke rules. But if you have something specific that you want me to take a look at, I'd absolutely be happy to. Outside of that, I'll give you my humble biased opinion, right? My 2 cents. I see 9 out of 10 noise coming around negativity around prop firms from either competitive prop firm owners, partners, or affiliates, right? I had somebody hop in the Discord last week or 2 weeks ago and ask about somebody saying, oh, top 1, I thought they were going under. And of course, who is the person that, said that? It's a competitive affiliate, right? An affiliate of instant funded prop firms that are not top 1, and it behooves them to say negative things and create FUD. I don't do that, right? I think there's plenty of other options out there. What's right for you is going to be dependent on you specifically, your style, your approach. You have to read the rules and make the decision for yourself. I don't think there is any one best, right? But I certainly don't like to just run around bad-mouthing other firms or people for the sake of business to try to generate FUD and, tell you why you should only buy, something that I use or I'm partnered with. So, but yeah, if you have anything, specific, feel free, copy, paste it. I'm happy to speak directly on it. Hop in the free Discord. Link is pinned to the top. You can throw it in there. I am more than happy to address it. But again, I have not seen a single person be denied a payout that didn't clearly break a rule or was heavy sim farming, hedging, trading with an additional group. I've seen a whole bunch of different stuff. Had the same name and same person, the 2-account game, but they'd all just classifies under breaking a rule, breaking a prohibited practice. Very similar at other firms. You have to follow the rules, right? Most people that comment, like I had somebody comment on one of my posts, not to go on a rant about it. I had some comment on one of my posts, good luck getting a payout, right? And you can go and look. It was one of my last YouTube videos. Good luck getting a payout from Top One. And I said, why good luck? Please be specific. Well, I was denied 2 payouts because I broke their stupid 10-second rule. Okay, there we go. Very clear. So you broke rules, right? Just like at any other firm. You're going to get the boot. Just read the rules. If you don't like the rules, totally, understand that. Breaking them and then being upset, I don't think makes a whole lot of sense. You don't need any luck to get any payouts at Top One. You just need to follow the rules and work yourself towards a payout. It's just pretty straightforward. So anyway, that's my long response there. Watching this thing right back to VWAP, man, and finding some buyers. Interesting. Morning, no news today. What's up? Good to see you back, Zach. Absolutely. Wolf, good to see you. Jess is long. 64.99 and a half. Don't cross your fingers. That's not good. Such a typical open YM shooting. NQ shooting, YM, lack of a better term. Yeah, we've got a lot of divergence in the U.S. indices. A lot of divergence. Let's see. Right back down to VWAP off the open. Let's take a look and see, chat. Appreciate you guys hopping on, as always. Hanging out. Waiting for a nice setup. Buys off of VWAP, man. They've been playing out really, really nicely. Really nicely earlier over the last couple weeks. This market has just been so dang strong. But I'm interested to see where we start to head from here. Taking a look at Bookmap. That order that was getting moved around, still up there at 65.40s. Still have liquidity at 65.25. Strong CVD. This looks like a move to the upside so far. Maybe we get that slow grind Monday. Yeah, so pulled right back down to VWAP off the open and then right back up towards this high. Interesting. Staying patient, as you guys know that I like to do. About 10-15 minutes off the open. I like to wait. Happy that I got to hop on here early with you guys, hang out a little bit. Again, we got something big. We're talking about Top One futures. Not only hanging out, they have paid out over $14.5 million to date since launch. Talking further on that, everybody and their mother right off the bat said, "Oh, that's going to be someone that's going to go by the wayside quickly, not going to be around for a long time." They definitely had some growing pains for sure, but awesome to see, going on almost 6 months, and a hell of a lot paid out ton of growth. Payout speeds slowed down quite a bit, but now, from what I've seen, again, my humble biased opinion, but you hop in the chat, hop in their Discord themselves, check it out. Check from traders that aren't partners and affiliates. They're back down around that 24 to 48 hour time frame. Had a couple people from my community get paid out very quickly. But outside of all that, waiting for something big today. I hope that we get something that drops while I'm on stream, because I'm hyped up about it myself personally. I would love to be able to talk about it with you guys while I'm on the stream, so I'm gonna hang out. Hopefully we do get that. But we got something pretty big. If you don't see it on here, hop in the free Discord. I'll be happy to break it down, give you guys all the details. I'm sure you'll see it all across social media. And like I was just talking about, I'm sure you'll see all of the competitive affiliates and partners and all of the other prop firms, the way that they love to do, say something negative, right? Try to spin something with FUD, and I see it happen across other firms, right? Other firms launch stuff and somebody has something negative to say. It's just that whole drama game that they like to play. And other businesses do it, right? I saw a Samsung commercial where it was like a guy trying to balance an iPhone, like it was like trying to balance it on the screen, and like it's a Samsung commercial. They come and like smack the iPhone down, and they put the foldable Samsung phone out. So it's just a tactic to be very direct and negative against whatever it is. I thought that one was mad funny. I was like, damn, that's the best they could do, is that my phone balances and your phone doesn't balance. That one made me laugh. But anyway. Test of overnight high. Again, still sitting patient. This looks strong. Looks pretty strong. Just swept overnight high after pulling back down to VWAP and finding some buyers. This one's going to be tricky to trade in between the 25s and a move to the downside. Still 8 minutes into the open. No news Monday. Staying patient. We don't need to take hella losses or do anything crazy right off the open, guys. If that's your play to get involved, right into momentum, right off the open, I think send it. Do what you do, right? It's not my play. It's not really the way that I like to trade. Gnarly rejection. Good afternoon, Andrew. What's up? Just because something is harder does not make it bad. Well, yeah. I don't know what exactly we were talking about being harder, but for sure, I would agree with that. Rejection off of overnight high and then right back down to VWAP. Looking like we're going to put lows of the session in right here. It's a pretty gnarly turn to the downside right off the bat. Again, staying patient. Not a whole lot of direction out of this. Right back down to the 6,500s. Higher time frame view, higher time frame mindset. That's a pretty aggressive turn after just cracking overnight high by a couple ticks. Turning right back down. So far, this is pretty choppy back and forth. This does look like we want to come through VWAP. Found buyers, are not finding buyers just yet. We'll see. We'll see if we just start to chop really aggressively back and forth. I'm going to keep myself out for the time being. Right, 9:40 a.m. I'm coming up on that time where I'm allowed to pull the trigger. Right, I try to have some guidelines for myself based on data. If I find that every time I get involved at 9:32 a.m. Eastern, I get absolutely smoked, I try not to get involved at that time, right? So we'll have to see what starts to set up here. Again, got a level marked up towards that 65.25 if you hopped on late. And then to the downside, I'm interested in that 64.80. We start to get some direction out of this market towards one of those levels. I could see a trade towards them. We reach one of those levels, I could see a trade off of them. Meaning a short around that 25. Probably a real wide stop loss, looking for a turn all the way back down. Downsides, I'd be waiting for some buyers to step in if we really started to sell off today. But let me know what you guys think in chat. You guys looking Bulls back in town. You guys think we're headed to all-time highs? You looking for this to pull back? You looking for just chop suey, just a chop city on a no news Monday? Again, if you guys hopped on late, that's what we were looking at earlier. Not a whole lot of news. Not a whole lot of news this Monday, September 8th. Today or tomorrow, the rest of the week, pretty light. Pretty clear for trading, but not a whole lot that's really looking to kick us into gear next week. Next week, this Wednesday, FOMC rate and conference, September 17th. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on that. So I could see some chop up here. I think on a higher time frame, that chop is going to be very tradable. I think there could be a lot of movement. Yeah, but so far, not a whole lot, guys. So far, back and forth. Sweeping highs, sweeping lows, right back into the middle ground. Whole lot of nothing. This is why I don't like to get involved, right? As we started to come down to the downside, this looks pretty good, right? We're breaking out to the downside. Maybe stop loss just above the high. Here we go, and right back in. So if you have a directional trade out of this, do your thing. But so far for me, this is going to be sit patient. Sit patient. Wait for the market to show its hand. Start to show its hand, right? Again, there's many traders that won't even trade at No News Monday. Many. I'm not one of them. I really prefer not to trade on and around major U.S. holidays. I think that just makes for trash trading. I think if you take yourself out of No News Mondays and Fridays, that you end up like cutting a whole bunch of time out of when you're actually able to trade for the year, which is not too many days. But I'm cautious. I'm cautious on a No News Monday with no news on Tuesday, pretty light, overall, and we're at a key round psychological number opening up right around VWAP, right? I try to just stay patient, a little more patient. Gun to my head, I would probably be long. I don't, it's my favorite saying that people usually leave me comments on. Gun to my head, I'm long. I think we're holding VWAP to a degree. I'd run a real wide stop, and I would trade back up towards this area, these 65.25s, if I had to put a trade on right now. I don't have to put a trade on, and I don't think that's a really beautiful setup for me, so I'm not going to take that. But if I had to put something on, that's what it would be. Stop loss probably down below this level of consolidation. What would have gotten me into something maybe like that already, if we had pulled back down and then found buyers really aggressively back up? Where's my path mark? We pulled one of these. We didn't come all the way down to the 80s. We swept down below all of these lows here and even all of these lows over here, looking at the 15-minute, and then we immediately started to come back up. I wouldn't mind that long. If we pulled something like this, even now, if we pulled something like this, I would consider trying something like that. All the way back up, not a 0.2 risk to reward, but something like that. Stop loss down below this low, where if we continue lower, right, you're dead wrong. But this could be a nice sweep, at least down here, not all the way to overnight low, but out of this area of consolidation, right, where we've kind of chopped in this overnight, maybe a test of these highs over here, and then an immediate move back up through VWAP, maybe a nice growing CVD. I wouldn't mind that for a long. We could see something like that start to set up here. But so far, choppy, man. So far, choppy. So I sit patient, my friends. I think it's an asset if you can develop that skill to just sit patient when the market's not doing anything for you personally. And again, just because it's not doing something for me doesn't mean it's not doing something for you. I don't like to overgeneralize and say this price action sucks, right? Or this isn't good, because what does that mean? Maybe you're a range trader and this is beautiful, See some guys chatting up in my Discord. Brian, what's up, man? Looking long on YM if we start to sell off a little bit further. Just checking a couple messages, guys. Back down towards the lows. Interesting here, chat. Let's see. Yeah, I could consider a long. I think starting to frame first trade ideas, right? 9:48 a.m., 18 minutes after the open, a whole lot of chop, right? Objectively, for me, where's our 9:30 candle? From here to here. Here is our session. Here's our session price action so far. What is this beautiful for anybody? This is VWAP chop. Okay, this is for me. This is not anything to get involved in. I think this is dangerous outside of being a range trader, personally. If we got a sweep lower and then a push back up through VWAP, I could consider a long. I'd like a nice aggressive sell-off that fakes everybody out to the downside and then comes right back through on heavy volume to the upside. We might not do that. We might just take off from here. We might just hold VWAP and then continue to the upside. I might be wrong if we come lower, right, and then back up. It might be a break and retest to the downside. But that's the first thing that I would see. That'd be flowing along with higher time frame trend, price action, market structure. I would like that to the upside. If we just push off from here, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take anything. I'd be sitting patient till we got up around that 25. And then I'd be looking aggressively short up there. So that's my trade ideas so far. Tell us a dad joke. I don't know any dad jokes. Good morning. What's up? Big change of pace after Friday's craziness. Yeah. Well, Friday was a big news event, right? Big news event. And, today is a no news Monday. So it doesn't mean that on a big news event, we're going to have a lot of volume and volatility. And it doesn't mean on a no news Monday that we're going to do what we're doing right now. We don't have to do any of that stuff. But being aware of financial news when it is and how the market often reacts during and before and after those can help you anticipate a little bit more, or just at least set some reasonable expectations, right? I think the first expectation, right, the first starting point that I like to start from, so you're never completely caught off guard or carrying too heavy of a bias. The first one is anything can, someone posted this, I forget what it's a common saying. Anything can happen at any time for any reason. Really, that's, we don't know when a war is going to break out. We don't know when a natural disaster is going to, occur. We don't know when, major geopolitical events are going to just unannounced, right, unscheduled, are going to start to transpire. So really anything can happen. And outside of all that, anything can happen for any reason. But within that, core belief, the secondary one is I have an idea based on pattern recognition historically, which is not always going to correlate perfectly, but historically how the market moves around high impact financial news events and when there's not high impact financial news events, right? And before and after those, we can frame just some basic expectations, right? I think that's the way that I utilize that. That's pretty much it, though. I'm not a fundamental trader. I don't try to anticipate what the FOMC rate is going to be, and then if it comes out above or below expectations, what that means for the market. I think that's a loser's game. Personally, I don't, at least for intraday trading on the U.S. indices, I don't think you're ever going to be fast enough to react to it. And even if you are, I don't know that you'll be right enough times for it to warrant it to create a real edge. Maybe it works well for some traders, not for me. But for now, so far, choppy Monday. Just looking at the chart in front of me. Choppy Monday. Choppy Monday. So it's calling for even more patience. Framed out 2 potential ideas. They are reversion style trades, but I would probably be a little bit more patient on the long than I would on the short. I think I have a pretty key level where I'd say I'm dead wrong if this thing continues through it to the upside. To the downside, I don't know how far down we pull. I really don't, and I would need a trade. I would need some strength after the dip before looking for a buy. From here, you want to trade from here in a directional way, I think flip a coin. I think limit orders, trading a range right here is probably pretty sweet. You could be grabbing points to the upside and downside until we break out, when you would take an L. But sitting patient for me. That's what I got so far, chat. Sitting patient. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Bookmap still showing strength on cumulative volume delta. This is really the only thing that I have out of Bookmap that's really given me any sense of any help today. Anything that I can really utilize. If we really sold off, right, on an aggressive wick to the downside again, I wouldn't mind looking long on a nice strong CVD. Cumulative volume delta showing 4,300 right now, green. We push off from here. I don't think that's a great trade. I don't think getting long in the middle of a range with a stop loss just on one of the extremes is a great idea. But we do have some consolidation here. We got a little wedge forming, a little Dorito pattern. It's Dobie at Top Steps term, the Dorito pattern. And typically we get a little bit larger of a movement, right? We might get some kind of explosive movement to the upside or downside, or a little bit more impulsive movement, I should say. Maybe not explosive. It's probably not a good word for it. Let's see. JB says, had to go to the bathroom, grab some coffee. Didn't miss anything on ES, I see. Nope. Not yet. Not yet. Here's our 9:30. Again, this is what I like to do every once in a while. This is just a measurement tool. You could use whatever you want. Just to keep myself, in line. That's what we got so far. Okay. You put this on a chart in front of me and you told me VWAP was right here. I don't have a good indication of what's, of what I would like to do as far as a trade. You give me a really strong uptrend to the left. Maybe you just throw a long on because of that, but not a whole lot just yet. Again, like I said, gun to my head, said this earlier, I'd be long if I had to be. I don't have to be, and I don't think that's a great trade for me just yet. Strong and growing CVD. Looks like we might want to go towards those 25s, man. Brian with a W. Nice. Brian with a W on YM. Got long out of demand zone. Brian got long 45, 330s on Dow. Very nice. Very nice. Let's see what we get. Andres, do you use footprints? I do not. I think footprint charts can be pretty sweet. I've played around with some stuff in the past when TradingView launched a whole bunch of like beta testing for their footprint chart. But I was questioning how real of it actually was, like where the data was coming from. Anyway, I think footprint charts can be sweet, just like any other tool. I was really, when I decided to get involved with Bookmap and order flow and start testing that, I was really between, getting a subscription to Sierra charts and level 2 data and starting to look at footprint charts, and that was between that and a DOM, right, or just a heat map for order flow. And I decided to go with order flow. just kind of different information, new information. But I don't think there's anything wrong with footprint charts. I think they can be pretty sweet. It can be really interesting to identify things like, imbalances, stacked imbalances. I think it can be pretty helpful, especially on low time frames. But it's just like anything else. You have to build confidence in it. You have to learn how to use it yourself, the way that you want to apply it to your trading. But I do not use footprint charts. I have the chart in front of me that you guys are looking at right now, which is what I would consider a pretty raw candlestick chart. There's 3 tools on here, indicator style tools, which would be volume, traditional volume down on the bottom, visible range volume profile, and VWAP, volume weighted average price. They're all volume tools. Outside of that, I have traditional candles themselves, and I've got a couple levels. I utilize 3 sets of market-generated levels, objective levels, overnight high and low, prior day high and low, prior week high and low. That's what I have on the chart, at least right now. I kind of rotate around a couple little different things. And then a couple just zones, right? Markings on the chart maybe that I mark up. That's it. Outside of that, Bookmap. Bookmap over on the right-hand side. Pretty simple. If I showed you my trading view chart, which is what I'm utilizing to trade from a live account in the futures market, was using Motive Wave in the past. It's naked except for the same 3 tools and session volume profile. And I don't mark I just don't have time to mark that many charts, or maybe just don't have the desire to. It's just session volume profile, which you could get on Project X by drawing out a fixed range volume profile. And that kind of works in place of my overnight high and low, prior day high and low, because the actual session volume profile that print on the 15-minute, you can see the top and bottom of that. So that's kind of how the lazy way that I do it on TradingView. But that's those are the tools that I utilize. If you're asking, how do you utilize them? I would describe what I do on this chart as discretionary trading, right? I have some key ways to apply consistency. I tend to do the same thing day in and day out, but at its core, there's quite a bit of discretion in the entries themselves, right? I'm using my subjective interpretation of price action, market structure, and the tools I use. But it's based on those things: price action and market structure first, some volume tools, and a little bit of order flow. Last but not least on the right-hand side. And keeping things extremely simple, focusing on being a really good risk manager, and focusing on the way that I'm thinking about trading. That's where I find I've made the most progress. I start to stray from that. I focus too much on strategy and something new, shiny tool, or I get away from being a great risk manager, right? I start to overcomplicate things. I add too many things on my chart. Everything starts to go by the wayside. So keeping things simple. This comes from traders that I've worked with before me, stuff that I've learned from and taken, right? Keeping things extremely simple and focusing on really keeping your risk in line, being consistent with risk management, and focusing on your mindset and psychology, the way that you're thinking about trading. That combination I find works really well for me personally. I don't think trading has to be incredibly complicated. I don't think there's any magical tool out there where if you used anything that I use or anything else that we're talking about that you would make money or lose money. That's not, in my humble opinion, what separates the best traders in the world from the guys that are still making money but aren't the best, the guys that are breaking even, and the vast majority that are losing money. It's not that they have some special tool that we don't know about. It's not that they have some super duper high IQ. Actually, I'm starting to believe more and more the smarter you are, the harder time you're going to have at trading. I believe it's the mindset and psychology piece. It's the emotional control and self-regulation and awareness. It's having the focus there. It's the way that they think about trading, right? The game of probabilities that we're playing, a deep core understanding. Recognizing that we're hardwired to do the wrong thing almost all the time, which is how we are so good at consistently losing money at a near 50-50 game. I think that's what the big differentiator is. It's hard. It's abstract, right? It's not as clear cut as do this and throw a moving average on your chart and just buy when it crosses over. If it was that simple, I think we'd all be making money, right? It would all be real, real easy to do. watching this start to sell off. But yeah, that's kind of my thought process on that. I think it can be helpful to articulate that. If you are struggling, if you're not where you want to be, if you are, looking to continue to improve, that's where I would spend time. How can I simplify my process so I have a lot of confidence in it? I can back test it, forward test it. I have a way to apply consistency, maybe along with a very little bit of my discretion, but I keep it very simple. And then how am I going to structure and accept my risk? What is my risk per trade? What is my risk per day? Am I comfortable with that? Do I know what that means in the long run for my rough averages for win rate and risk to reward? Great. And then the main focus past those things would be, how am I thinking about trading? Do I really understand the game of probabilities? Do I really think in a series of trades? Or am I focused on this next trade? And I'm mad that I lost one trade, which means absolutely nothing in the next year or 5 years or 10 years of my trading career, right? And then do I track my trading to some degree or another? Do I journal in some way? Do I write down how I'm feeling and thinking? Do I go back and throw executions on the chart to look at what the heck I actually did, find out what's working, what's not working, right? And try to make small improvements, do a little bit more of what's working, a little bit less of what's not working. Do I ask myself those hard questions after I blew up for the 10th time in a row? Do I try to find out where that's coming from, or do I just continue to do the same thing over and over and over again without, actually putting in any work and just hoping that it one day works? Those are the spots that I would look. I wouldn't continue to Google what the best time frame is to use the EMA 21 and 50 crossover strategy. I spent a lot of time there, spent a long period of time and a lot of money there. And I think most traders do, right? We convince ourselves that this has to be complicated. It's all about edge. It's all about, creating some complex way to do this, this thing. And we have to sound smart. And how can we justify what we're doing and it being so simple that we lose track of the real, difficult piece of this, which is the mindset, the psychology, the risk management side. So that's my rant for today, guys. My rant for the morning. Start this Monday out right while we are watching the market do a whole lot of nothing, man. This is trash, guys. Classic no news Monday, chopping around VWAP. I'm not going anywhere, hanging out, but this is a whole lot of nothing so far. Whole lot of nothing so far. And while we are hanging out at VWAP, I will be right back. Back in action with you guys here. Back up towards VWAP. Yeah, again, gun to my head long. 65.10s. We got some liquidity to the upside. This doesn't look bad. This doesn't look real bad for a long. Yeah, got something right in front of price and a strong CVD. This doesn't look terrible, chat. Chatty chat. We come all the way back down here. Eyeballing along here, guys. It's not great, you know, it's not beautiful. I'd like to get something on with you guys. Don't have to do anything, but it looks like we want to start to push to the upside here. Strong CVD. Got a lot of orders right here that we're at. Whoever was way up there at 65.40 move, looks like they moved down their sell orders right in front of price. We got about 700 on the book for any of those that read a DOM. This isn't exactly the move that I wanted. Like I was framing out earlier, a pullback down a little bit deeper and then a continuation of the upside. But it is somewhat of the movement. I really do like the way that that Bookmap is looking on this as well. Let's see what happens up here. Just trying to frame this out from a structure perspective. Yeah, back up towards the 25s. Not yet. Back down to VWAP. I think we might go. Eyeballing along here, guys. Sorry for the huffing and puffing. It's not going to give me a lot of time to react, so it's kind of going to be throw it on and let it rip, or I think it's decision-making time with this market. If we just continue to chop, we continue to chop. I'm considering running this with a wide stop, really wide stop, all the way down near overnight low, where I'm just dead wrong and we sell off if I'm wrong. If not, we come all the way up and hit the 25s or near the 25s. But it's really just been sitting at VWAP. CBD looking strong, looks good. Order I'm going to try this. Guys. I'm getting long here. Getting long on a sweep down below these lows and a continuation back up. Nice, strong CVD to the upside. 5,100. We've continued. Oh, sorry, I don't want to do that. I want to be able to show you the bottom here. We've continued to grow, really continued to grow in CVD. Buyers outweighing sellers here, at least by way of volume. Does that mean that we have to do anything? Nope. Market can do whatever it wants to do. But I'm going to throw this one on long. I'm going to throw this one on long in the anticipation that we hold VWAP, or maybe we do get that wick down before continuing back up. But we have these orders up here at the 25s. I think that's the next level that we can go and hit. If we just sell off today, we come all the way down through overnight low, and we're just going to sweep liquidity all over the place, I'm going to be out for an L. But I'm going to throw this one on. And get long here. Stop loss down to the 84s. It's going to be a one and done for me for sure. I won't get another trade on based on this risk structure. So if we just start to turn to the downside, we just start to sell off, we don't find any buyers coming back up to the upside here, that's going to be that for me. It's going to be lights out, as the kids say, if that's the case. I'm going to make this at 64.84 and a quarter. That's going to be my stop. 987 worth of risk on this account. To the upside target, going to be looking up here, up towards the 25s. Yeah, looking for a larger move out of this, right? 20 points to the upside, 20 points to the downside. That's how much room I'm going to give this thing to work. If we just chop, maybe I survive it, maybe. I'd be a little bit frustrated if we wick down here and then pulled right back up, but I think that's probably a larger move than we would like to see today. So that's going to be my trade, chat. Long. That's my play. That's my play, and I'm sticking to it. Got long break of VWAP testing 64.96. Wanted to test 64.92, but don't always get what you want. So went ahead with the entries. Nice. Send it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, right? If it's just choppy, it's choppy. If we turn to the downside, I could see a return back down to this area. Again, in which case I'm just dead wrong. I'm going wide enough to allow a wick down here, right, into the 90s, maybe cracking below the 90s without taking me out. I think we could see something like that, and then a continuation, which is why my stop loss is all the way down here. If we sell off, we come down through the 85s. I'm dead wrong from up here, right? It's just a move to the downside. But I'm looking at some strength continuing potentially, taking us up to grab some orders at the 25s. Doesn't have to break to to prior day high, to prior week high. Doesn't have to go all the way up and break all-time highs, but a continuation to the upside. That's what would generate a W on this one. But do I know what's going to happen next? No, nobody does. What was the big news today? We're waiting on that to drop, my man. Waiting on that to drop. We got some news. Hopefully I get it on the live session. I am waiting patiently to be able to bring this to you guys. We got something big dropping, so we'll see. It's not out yet, not live yet. You guys will be the first to know, though. Check some messages on that. Yeah, you guys will be the first to know. We got something big dropping. Got something big dropping today. But I'm waiting patiently for the hey, it's live. That's what I'm waiting on. Let's see what we get. Yeah, again, guys, I'm long from 65.04. Again, I'm going to let this thing breathe. Anything really that happens between here and the 24s, 23s, 24s, I'm not too concerned with. We start to sell off through VWAP. We get down below the 90s with a lot of force. I think I'm just wrong on direction. We are going to just continue to chop and continue lower. That could be the play. Would have liked to see this continue right here, right now. So far, selling back off. Again, stop loss really wide on this one. It's going to be a one and done for me. Not going to give myself room to trade with micros more than one. If we came all the way down lower after just chopping in the morning, maybe we get some kind of V-shaped recovery into the afternoon that I'm not able to capitalize on, but I'm not going to wait for that. So we're in one ES mini, long from 65.04. we were trying to come back up above VWAP, stop all the way down at 64, 84s, targeting around these 65, 25s. If you guys know how I trade, I like to not run a take profit. I like to let the market do whatever it's going to do and then look to take profit with some discretion. I run always a fixed stop loss level. I really like to decide where on the chart that I no longer want to be in whatever direction that I'm trading. I like to structure my risk and say, hey, that's enough. At that point, I know that I'm wrong. I don't want to be long. I don't want to be short. In fact, I might, be considering looking the other direction, and in combination. That's as much as money as I want to have on the line for this trade. All right, that's the point. But I think when you set a stop loss, it should be those two things, right? How much money do I want to risk, and where is the invalidation point? Where on the chart is my trade invalidated, right? Where am I wrong? And for me, that's way down there. Breaking lows, not getting some follow through. CVD not completely fallen off. Started to dip here. This really looked good, even as we came down here. This looked pretty good. We had like a growing CVD as we tried to come back up here. But we'll see. We'll see if I'm weighing too much on Bookmap today. Can we get a hint? Andreas. I think you guys are going to like. No, I can't do it. Yeah, no, I can't really do any hint without just talking about whatever it is. So no hint. Here's the hint. Hop in the free Discord. Hang out here with me live. I'm grateful to be in communication with the management team, and you guys will be the first to know. I don't think that you would be second to anybody outside of somebody that's not supposed to be saying what it is yet. As we start to sell off here, man. Yeah, not getting buyers just yet. Really now starting to drop off a little bit on CVD. Here's the sweep down into the 90s that I'd like to see buyers step right back in on. If we start to sell off kind of aggressively, I think we see one of two things: a really aggressive wick and then some buying pressure back up, which could take me out, which would be frustrating. Or we just start to see some serious selling pressure come in. But we put our trades on without reservation or hesitation when they present themselves, right? At least that's what I attempt to do, in the wise words of Mark Douglas. And then manage them to the best of my abilities. That's it. Do I know what's going to happen next on any one single trade? No, I don't. Wish I did, but I don't. I can only put them on and look in a series of trades perspective. Look in a decent sample size of trades and say what happens over the next 20, 30 trades. I think at a bare minimum, I think it's a pretty good batch of trades to look at. I think the larger the better. But if you have something that's just completely not working at all in 20 to 30 trades, or you can identify what is starting to not work, what's not looking good in 20 to 30 trades, I think that's a good starting point. 50 is better, 100 is better, 500 better. Takes a long, long time to collect that, though. You can start to make some adjustments, I think, before then. Morning, David. What's up, man? What's going on? What's going on, guys? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we get out of this market. We will see. Welcome back home, brother. What's up, man? Thank you. Yeah, had an awesome trip. If you guys here, I'll throw the IG on there. If you guys don't follow me on socials, I'm across all socials, just not TikTok. I don't like to have malware apps on my phone. I'll throw my Instagram here in chat for you guys. I post a whole bunch of just the day-to-day stuff, the normal life stuff, everything outside of trading on like IG stories, but I'll be posting even more. was a really cool trip. Really cool. Very fun. That I'm grateful that I get to go run around and have stuff like that. Used to dream of getting to do stuff like that. But appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Go right in here as well. Yeah, man, we'll see what we got. We'll see what we got. Market, not super exciting. Market not super exciting just yet. Really not doing too much. As you can see from the screen in front of you, I'm long 65.04. Stop at 64.84 and a quarter. Was looking for a sweep down below the session lows and move back up through VWAP to continue on strong CVD. Wide stop loss. Looking for a move back up here towards the 65.25s. I don't know that I'd have to hold all the way to liquidity. If I'm using something as a target, I like to front run it. But if we don't start to get back up above these highs and push, this is going to look dicey. CVD still not really dropping off as we sold off. It's actually a divergence now. We're coming up to coming back up towards those 5,000s on cumulative volume delta. The way that I read that is strength. Do we have to do that? Do we have to continue the upside? No, we don't have to do anything. Let's see, chat. Let's see what we get. But yeah, I had a pretty gnarly week trading live. I took some smaller trades on the Top on Futures accounts. Some fun stuff. Trading in Switzerland on a train in Switzerland, and then from the balcony. But I had a nice Friday trade in the live, and when I'm traveling, this is interesting. Somebody asked me, "Oh, do you usually do well when you're traveling, or when you trade from your phone, or whatever?" I don't know exactly what the question was, but I don't have a huge sample size, right, of when I'm traveling and trading, or when I'm trading from my phone and traveling, right? But I do notice one thing in the small sample size. I tend to do exceptionally well. I tend to just do better. And I have to chalk it up to two reasons, because there's really two main differences. One is just the mindset, the headspace that you're in. Usually, if I'm in a new place, or I'm on holiday or traveling or on vacation, or I'm back in my hometown around family, like my nieces running around, I'm pretty positive. I'm pretty happy. I'm usually confident in whatever it is that I'm doing. And I think that can translate really well to trading. I think that in itself, if you took yourself on a day where you are, positive around family that loves you, or you're in an amazing place and you're feeling really grateful, versus when you're feeling really down and negative and you're just, around people that suck or whatever it is, you probably will trade better in that positive headspace. Outside of that, I tend to not day trade, intraday trade. I technically am, because I'm in the futures market, and I'm placing trades every day. So technically you are day trading. I'd be flagged for pattern recognition day trading, that day trading rule for stocks. But I really widen out in the same way that you see me do here. Nothing insane. But I widen out stops and targets, and I set it and forget it. I set limit orders and I let them fill. And or if I do enter manually, I set a take profit and a stop loss, and I'm off to doing whatever I'm doing, and the trade plays out. So I do try to look at things like that. I try to look at things like that. How can I translate that to my day-to-day performance, right? Is it just an anomaly? Is it just too small of a sample size to make any inference from, or is there something there, right? Is there an improved mindset and psychology and headspace when I'm traveling, and I'm doing something a little bit differently? I'm zooming out and I'm viewing a higher time frame perspective, and I'm managing my trade less, right? I'm more inclined to let it run just because I take trades and then I'm hiking in the Swiss Alps or something. which is literally what happened on this one. I was in service for like very short amounts of time. I was 6 hours ahead in a Zurich time zone, right, to start. Was all over that country. But that's interesting. I think this stuff is interesting, right? And, I had to ask myself on a really nice trade on Friday where I booked what was the actual amount? I think it was $23.75. Like $2,300 bucks, let's say $2,000. Would I have, and I was in drawdown first, I think by like $850 or something like that. And the question is, if I was watching that play out, would I really have held that all the way down towards, profit? If I had, $2,000 in profit, am I holding past that, in a nice live account trade rather than just clipping it? Those are, I think, questions you can ask yourself. So, but on this trade specifically, right back up to my entry. Now, we got some buyers that stepped in on that. We had some volume on the way back up. CVD is still looking good. We are at highs for the session so far on cumulative volume delta. We got 650 lots right in front of price. So I think we see one of two things happen. We either wick up here, fill this, and effing turn to the downside and rip my face off, or we come through this on some volume and I catch a W here, right? I think we got decision-making time coming up. We got a lot of orders that have continued to get moved around. I don't know they don't move them right now. Like this might go. For those of you that watch a DOM, you'll see this. We got a stack of orders right in front of price. It looks like we want to fill it. Looks like we want to go lift it. But I think we either see a wick up here, maybe above this 65.10s, and then a crack right back down and we just continue chopping, or we start to sell off really aggressively, or, which I'm trading for, a push through this on some volume, buyers to continue to drive this thing higher, and we go trade towards those 65.25s. So, okay, here we go. Filled quite a bit. Nice jump up there. Let's see. Can we follow through? Can we get some follow through here? Or is it just going to be one more wick up here, take everybody out that got short too quick, and then dump? Again, for me, trade management wise, if you're new to the streams, if you're not on, especially the way that I'm trading these crazy volatile markets, wide on a stop, right? I got like a 19 and 3/4 point stop exactly. That's pretty heavy here for ES, right? I'm not going to generate a huge R multiple with that wide of a stop loss unless I hold to the moon, which I traditionally don't. But I don't want to be out on shit like that. Excuse me. I don't want to be out on stuff like this. I want to be out down here. I'm dead wrong if we come all the way down here, right? So let's see. Let's see if we can't find some buyers on this one. Or again, do we just wick overnight high and come back in? I think we got a good shot to move up here pretty quickly. There's not a whole lot of volume in between this area. If I come over to the 15-minute chart, get rid of that one for a minute, maybe we just come and check out like the 15s or the 12s, right? We just kind of wick up here a little bit and turn right back down in. For me, there ain't gonna be too much to do until I see this thing start to climb towards to start to get above, let's say, the 20s. So I'll be looking for on this. That's what I'm looking for, chat. And again, I'm coming off of a nice, like I was just talking about, trading from holiday, trading from vacation. So like mad European or just other parts of the world say holiday. It's funny. Trading from holiday, widening out stops and targets. Super duper zoomed in. I think it'd be more entertaining. I think it'd be fun to scalp and stuff like that. My data just shows the longer hold trades, the stuff that I widen out, the stuff that I hold on to, just tend to work better. They just tend to have a higher win rate. They tend to pay me better. Maybe I have a stronger suit towards holding trades than some traders. They get too nervous and draw down and stop loss, and maybe I'm not as great as scalping or super high frequency trading. I don't know, but I just look to my data, right? I try to trust that. If I have something that stands out in my face that says you're making money here and you're not making money here, or you're making more money here and less money here, I just want to keep doing more of this, right? That's as simple as trading can be, I think. Take a look at your data, take a look at your results, track what you can, and as simple as that sounds, try to do more of what's working and less of what's not. You know, I find when I go stop loss to break even, I take break even trades all day, every day. And the ones that actually make it towards any considerable amount of movement are losses, right? I never let the winners breathe. So I try not to do that. That's personal for me. You might find, hey, I have so many trades that make it into profit and I don't close and they come back to break even and then go all the way to the stop loss. Maybe you should be taking profit quicker. Maybe you should be moving stop to break even. You know, just things like that. Okay, booked a small profit on the drop out of the markets. Dinner time. Reading time coming up. Nice, Wolf. Let's go Bears. Oh, come on, Wolf. I'm long. No, listen, if you're short, I hope it plays out for you. In lieu of me being long, if you're short, you know, and I could see that, right? I could always frame both sides of the trade. Like I said, I think we could see a wick up here. If we come aggressively down through these lows, I think I'm cooked. You know, I think that's what this is going to be. Right now, I would have loved to see this continue even more than it already is. I don't like that turn back in, but we're at 6,500 on CVD. It was nice and strong. I could see us just filling out a wick to the downside here on this 15-minute, right back to the middle ground of this high volume, continuing to pull back, and then continue right here. I want to see this start to grow. You know, if we don't, yeah, sure, it could be just a wick to the outside. Very frustrating session, right? Just expansion, right? Where we talk about different types of kind of consolidating movements. Breaking lows, breaking highs, breaking lows, breaking highs, breaking lows. Eventually it picks a direction, but not before taking everybody out and chopping everybody up. Not going to chop me up. It would just be a win or a loss. You know, that's going to be it. But we'll see. We shall see. Let's see. Demand zone for Friday holding briefly. I'm looking at you guys in Discord. Brian Long, nice. We got another JB Long, nice. Let's see. But appreciate you guys hopping on as always. Thanks for being here. If you're not in the 100% free trading Discord, it's pinned to the top of all of the chats. I'd be more than happy to have you in there. Not a VIP feeder program, no paid course, no paid nothing. Happy to have you in there. If you are not liking and subscribing, you can do that. If you're not liking, you could do that. You could do whatever you want to do. Free means free. I'm here 9:30 a.m. Eastern every damn day. I was doing some Power Hour. Talked about that. Probably not going to run Power Hour. Power Hour is fun. I like to hop back on, but it's just not great trading conditions. It's, you know, maybe for like super scalping, it's good. But I'm probably just going to hang out on these live streams longer with you guys in the morning. Maybe hop on a little bit earlier. Let my trades play out a little bit longer with you, or if I'm not in something, wait to see if we find something set up. I've had a handful of days where I get off the live session after waiting for like 2 hours, and then, or maybe not 2 hours, hour and a half or something, and then the setup comes, and I'm like, tough, but feel free, smash like, smash subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Free means free. And yeah, we also run giveaways on these streams almost every day. We drop a Google form in the chat and we get people funded. Going to be giving out some prop firm accounts this week. Price is moving in a channel 64.93, 64.10-ish. Had a good opportunity at 64.98, but was scared to enter. 64.10 to 64.93. Yeah, I guess so. Sure. I like this to 65.25, which is why I'm long from 65.04. If we don't hold VWAP and come all the way back down, could just be a super duper choppy day. At 65.25, I actually like a short. I like a short from up there after 65.25. Probably would run that in another account so I could hold on to it. But I could see a much higher time frame move for this week playing out that looks something like this. I could see something like that playing out. We got quite a bit of volume down here. See where that's coming from? Quite a bit of volume to the downside, right? I think this is also, I wish I had session volume profile on here. Let me mark it up. Let me get some fixed range volume profiles while we're watching this trade. Start to move. We might get something here. Wait. Oh, this is the holiday. I see what we did here. I was like, what's up with that? Okay, there's session changeover. Yeah, we got some volume down here, chat. We definitely got some volume down here. This is essentially what Trey's starting to move. This is essentially what session range volume profile is. Just gives you the full day's volume profile. You can mark it with a fixed range volume profile, which I'm doing right now. Let's mark up a couple of days. And then let's mark up. Is this Friday? Let's mark up Friday. Bam. Yep, and here's what's forming so far if we wanted to do that, which I don't want to, but got some volume down here. Got some untested volume points of controls down here. I like that. I like that before I move to the downside. All right. Just framing some larger trade ideas from the 25s. We started to move here. Can we continue, chat? Can we catch a W here? This trade showing me a couple points of profit. I was flashing 300 something, wicking above overnight high. Are we just going to come back down in? Let me know what you think, chat. You guys think we're just coming like right back down in on this, or are we actually going to get some movement here? It's looking good on the 15-minute. Nice big bullish bar coming back through the middle of this range. We got another big bullish bar forming. If we could continue this, it wouldn't look so bad. I wouldn't mind this. You know, that wouldn't look too bad either. Like we might start to do that. We might start to do one of these, just slow grind like BS, right? In which case I'm going to be sitting in it for forever. The only thing I don't like is if we would do this, right? If we come through this low again really aggressively. Now we could do it one more time maybe. We come through this low really aggressively. That's going to look pretty ugly. Stop loss is where it needs to be for me. I don't drag stop loss tighter. I don't drag stop loss to break even like I talked about. Not my play. I would just get out, if that was, part of my discretionary exit. But this doesn't look terrible. This does not look terrible. Growing CVD, yeah, 6,300. We had a lot on this. And we didn't really continue to bump it up. Yeah, we gotta go, and we gotta get across the 15s and continue for this to look good. That's the thought here. Yeah, we were growing so nicely on CVD, and we still are, but we have a little bit of divergence going here against me. And if I was using it for the entry, I want to use it for the management. Come on, man. What happened, buyers? Interesting. Interesting, chat. Rob, what's up? Yo, Zach, I know you don't really use a TP all the time. My question is, do you have a dollar amount that you'll lock in profit before letting runners run? No. No, I don't, Rob. It's a good question. I almost always have a really good idea of where I want to take profit, right? I think you need that when you enter the trade. And for me, it's up around 65.25. But I will grab profits early often. I'll close trades out sometimes, manually. I just don't like to move the stop really to break even arbitrarily to do that. I don't think it's a good move for me, which is why I don't like to run a fixed take profit. I also like to just have an uncapped upside where if we just Trump, says something crazy or for some reason the market starts to rip, oftentimes you're able to grab some more points. Hasn't really happened as of recent, but I've been in a lot of trades where I'm like, damn, if I only didn't have a take profit, this thing would have moved another half an hour past where my take profit was before I could even hit the close button. So it's like it's a nice move to have. But I don't have a set amount where I take runners because or close out partials and then hold on to runners because that's not my trade approach. It's not my trade management approach. I don't close out of profit, book profit, and then let runners run. That's not what I do here. First off, I couldn't even if I wanted to because I'm in one contract. I can't close out of half of an E-mini, right? But it's just not my play. I don't find, again, through looking at my trading, my data, that helps me. I just don't. I do move my stop. If I get stopped out, I can always re-enter in is my strategy. Nice. JB, yeah. For me, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, let me back up. Moving stop to break even, it's a hot topic, right? I think it's a hot topic. I think most traders do it for the wrong reason. I think they want to make it a risk-free trade. They don't have a preset thing like you just said there where you're able to re-enter based on some rule set. And they stop themselves out of good trades that continue to move into profit, and they hold on to losers all the way to stop loss, right? That's not for everybody. This is not everybody. For me personally, I don't find that if I get stopped at break even that I find myself back into trades. I just find that I stop myself out of more good trades than bad trades. It's not to say, which you will watch demonstrated here on the live, that if I never go stop loss to break even, what will happen, right? I will eventually have plenty of trades that do this right here, come all the way back where I would have been able to be out for break even and then all the way down, right? But if I don't accept that this is going to happen, I will never get this trade, right? I'll never get this one. So I think if you go back through and you watch my trading personally, I know it because I watch it myself. You will watch far more times in the past where I've moved stop loss to break even. It was incredible on one day. And I got stopped for break even, and then the trade moves into profit. Then trades that stop me at break even and then move all the way to a stop loss. I had 3. But it was when I was just a little bit more zoomed in and taking a higher frequency of trades. I had 3, and the last one ran. It was incredibly frustrating. Continue to stop myself at break even, and then would re-enter. Stop myself at break even, and the trade just continued to go. And had I just not closed any one of those at break even, would have generated a beautiful profit. Again, that's a small sample size, right? We're talking about one instance, but look at what's best for you over a large sample size. Personally, like my humble belief overall, if you said, dude, you have to answer this question, I would say no stop loss to break even. Again, I don't think enough traders are tracking. And what would I say that what most should do? They should be at 1-to-1, set it and forget it. That's the easiest starting point. At least if you're doing that in completely random market conditions, flipping a coin like a dumb monkey, hitting the buy or sell button, you should end up roughly around break even or less commissions, fees, spreads, which we know will eat into it while you lose money. But the rough idea is that you wouldn't be consistently losing money the way so many traders are. So many traders are because they're entering horribly with horrible stops and take profits and horrible risk to rewards, and then they're managing the trades horribly, right? But if you start with closer, you're still going to be losing money, but if you start with closer to a break even, you're ahead of majority of traders because we know the majority of traders lose money over time consistently. So anyway, that's my thought process. If you guys have any questions, feel free, let me know. It's good stuff. Trade management's an interesting one. But, if I could go back, right? And I talk about this. If I could go back, I just made a video about it. I would start at a 1-to-1 fixed take profit stop loss on every trade that I enter. I would adjust for volatility, or probably not if I was a complete beginner. I would just make it really wide, and I would not touch it. At very least, that gives you a better shot at getting near a 50% win rate and a slowly but steadily losing money strategy, but close to break even, and a way to adjust, right? But that would be, I think, a good starting point for most traders. Trade management, any type of trade management after the trade is on, is more advanced just objectively than a set it and forget it approach, right? From a 1-to-1, I would adjust risk to reward. Right? If you find that most of your trades are moving past your take profit, maybe you go for a higher risk to reward. If you find that you don't need as wide of a stop loss, you can tighten both of them. You can kind of adjust that. Then, after you kind of hone those things in, you say, hey, wait a minute. I got a lot of trades that go into profit, get close to my take profit, and then come all the way back and stop me out. Maybe experiment with stop loss to break even. You say, hey, I got a lot of trades that hit my take profit and then come all the way back down on me, but some, 30% of them run, and they run to the moon based on my approach, my strategy, whatever it is. Maybe you hold runners, that type of stuff. So. But this thing's trying to go. Talking about this one. I usually wait until it gets to my next level, then move, take profit just below there. Don't normally move to break even. Cool. Yeah. So dragging stop loss up based on levels, right? Maybe below this low and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. Trailing take profit can be very helpful. Yeah, I got something that I really don't like on this one, guys, that I'm looking over to the side. And I was talking about it earlier. CVD. The CVD is starting to drop off. We got heavy orders in front of this now. We're continuing to move to the upside, right? And I liked this. Let me scroll back. I really liked this for a long, right? And this is the way that I use cumulative volume delta, because as we started to push up, we were putting higher highs in on this cumulative volume delta little chart down here, right? Growing on the CVD. Now what are we doing? We have a divergence in the other direction. We have, price continuing to push to the upside and selling pressure, selling volume outweighing buying volume, right? That's indicating a turn, which is happening right now, which I really don't like. Really don't like. I'm going to wait to see if we can lift these 15s, because this is just not, oh, sorry guys. This is just not enough. I would rather just take a full stop loss than clip it here and watch it run. But I really don't like what I'm seeing on Bookmap for this. I'm cautious. I'm cautious if we wick above these 15s. I might look to grab it. And here's where we go with the discretion, right? Here's where we go with the discretionary close, which is why I don't run a fixed take profit. I don't love to close all my trades at 0.5, 0.6 R, and I will end up with a really high win rate and a really low risk to reward, right? And a couple full losses will hurt. But in this instance, I have a reason to believe that we might not run towards my 25 level. So I'm looking at potentially applying some discretion. If we wick above the 15s, where we have quite a bit of orders right here, we might not even do it. Yeah, I again, there's some consistency in what I do, but I'm going to allow myself some discretion as well. And this is either going to come all the way back down or come through this pretty aggressively. I don't know that we come through this. ES, man. ES. We're going to just turn this into a choppy one? Not really enough. Close, but not really enough for me to even allow myself to grab it. If we wicked the 15, 16s and we didn't find buyers to continue, and this and Bookmap continues to look at the way that it looks right now, I may look to take it off. Let's see. And why? You know what? Like, where does that come from? My data. My data shows that, you know, allowing myself some discretion in some places within reason helps. You know, allowing myself to close out of a trade in profit when there's quite a bit of market generated information that warrants me to do that, and I can go back through and look at why and what I did. I find that helps me more than it hurts me. You know, arbitrarily going stop loss to break even, closing early for a loss, you know, dragging stop loss up, tightening up, all these types of things I don't find help me. So I'm watching this closely on Bookmap here, guys. Let's see what we get, chat. Let's see. Hammering into this again on a declining CVD. I really don't like it. Don't like that. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see what you got for me, ES. Can we lift these orders right here at the 65.13 and a halves? Let's see. Let's see. Continuing to push higher. This is a dicey one to hold through. This is a dicey one to hold through. There we go. There we go. Pushing the upside, cracking the highs here. Can we get some continuation is the question. Or do we turn right back down on this, guys? So I'm cautiously watching this. Cautiously watching this. I don't know that we really continue on this one. Yeah, CVD started to jump a little bit. I'm gonna hang on for a second up here, but I'm considering taking a profit here. Waiting for a little bit more of a push up. Yeah, we're not really getting it. Came into that liquidity, filled some. Looking at taking profit here, guys. There we go. Nice little push up through this.
Order filled.
I'm taking it right there, guys. I'm taking it off. This doesn't look bad. We could get a run all the way up to the 65.25s, but I'm going to take that one. I'm going to be cautious on this. I'm going to take my profit quickly. 65.15s, a lot of liquidity right here. And the exact reason that I got into this trade, I now have the, or not the exact reason, but part of the big reason that I was so confident to take this trade, I have a lot now stacked up against me in the exact opposite direction, right? So if I'm going to use it for my entry, I gotta be considering it for my exit, right? So W, can't complain. 509, quite a bit of risk on in order to just grab 509, but I'm not going to insist that the market continues up to this these 65.25s on this one. We can continue. We can see this be a nice bullish day. I think we got a big chance right here to turn. I think we got a really big chance to turn all the way back down towards VWAP, at least back down to overnight high. If we continue, it's going to look really, really strong to the upside. That would be great. Just not enough, really not enough immediate continuation here to the upside, or buyers blasting this thing higher through all of this liquidity. We got a declining cumulative volume delta, a divergence price and cumulative volume delta. That to me is saying, hey, maybe if there's a day to be cautious and look to take your profit, it's today. So we'll see. We'll see now if we come all the way through and head towards the lows back to VWAP, or if we continue to the upside, right? What do? I collect data. I take a look. Okay, you got long in here. Stop loss was way down here. You took profit here. Then what happened after you took profit? Did it continue back down to your stop loss? Did it come to VWAP? Good job. Good close. Does every time you do this, it continues to your, maybe your initial zone, the area that you're watching as a take profit? You make an adjustment. You say, don't do that, and go from there. So W, no complaint. 509, starting the Monday off right, man. Starting the live trading off right, back with you guys. 509 times 7. Nice $3,500 in profit. No complaints on that one. No complaints. And now that we got that done, chat. Dang, we're still waiting, man. Yeah, still. So we had something dropping today. We have something dropping today. We got some info dropping today. We got some cool stuff rolling out, guys. It's just not ready yet. I don't have the all clear. So here's what we're gonna do. Ooh, man, we got a turn there, chat. Let's see if we wick right back through this. But here's what I'm gonna do. The 100% free trading Discord is in the chat. If you guys want to stay updated on what we got dropping today, smash that one. It's free to join. Happy to have you guys in there. I'm going to be updating you all as soon as what I am alluding to, which I really don't like to do, drops. We got something dropping today. Quote me on it now. On that note, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. 1W, not going to sit here and wait. I got some alerts set up here into the 23s. I actually have an alert at the, what is this, the 20.5. We start to come up towards these 25s. I'm going to potentially look short. I'm interested to see what happens if we come up here into the afternoon. Probably not on these accounts. Probably going to be either in a live account or one of the other ones, but can't complain. Can't complain starting the week off right. So remember, guys, real quick, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. Do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop from accounts. And the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content. I appreciate you guys hopping on. We got it done nice and quick. Well, not that quick. What time is it? 11 o'clock? Not that quick. W, can't complain. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. Feel free to hop in the free community. Be more than happy to have you there. We got something big dropping. We got some giveaways rolling the rest of the week. Talk to you guys soon. See you in Discord. Trade well.